Howdy, students. I hope you're all doing good. In this video lecture, I will be explaining to you the next poem of your NCERT textbook, First Flight. The name of the poem is How to Tell Wild Animals. It was written by Carolyn Wells. But before we begin reading the poem and before I explain the meaning of the poem to you, let me give you a little background. This humorous poem suggests some dangerous ways to identify or tell wild animals. Read it aloud, keeping to a strong and regular rhythm. So, basically, this is a funny or humorous poem and it tells us some humorous, some dangerous, some extraordinary ways to identify wild animals, to distinguish them from one another. The author of the book has suggested us to read this poem aloud, keeping to a strong and regular rhythm to enjoy the poem thoroughly. I am assuming that you have already read the poem, and if you have not, I am going to read it out aloud so that you can enjoy the verse. But I'll also suggest that you should read it out by yourself too, so you can also get into the verse and feel the beauty of it. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you as you are dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion. Or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you with black strips on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. The simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you, you'll know it is the leopard. It will do no good to roar with pain, you'll only leap and leap again. If when you're walking round your yard, you'll meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess I'll give you just one more careless. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all, and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it is the chameleon you see. Carolyn Wells. So now I will carry on to explaining the meaning of this verse to you, and the poetic devices will be continued in the next video lecture. So keep yourself notified about it, keep yourself checked about it, that you watch this video and the next one to understand the video and the poetic devices used in it. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, the poet says that if you ever get a chance to go to the jungles of the east, and if in those jungles and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast. The meaning of tawny is of red-brown color, and beast is an animal. You would be knowing, I suppose that you are knowing it already, but I'm still clearing out the meaning to you that a beast is an animal. So the poet says that if you ever get a chance to go to the jungles in the east, and if in those jungles some red brown colored animal approaches you, you come across with an animal of red brown color, just like this. If he roars at you as you are dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion. And if he roars so loudly that you feel like you're dying, then make sure, then note it that it is the Asian lion. Asian lions are known for their roars. They are so ferocious, they roar so ferociously that one might get a heart attack instantly. So this is how ferocious their roars are. They echo in the whole jungles, and that is why every other animal is afraid of them. They are predators, obviously. The next verse says, or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you with black strips on a yellow ground. Noble here means honorable, and ground here is used for skin or background. Just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. To discern means to identify. So in this verse the poet is saying, if you are roaming around the same jungle and an honorable animal greets you, comes across you, and if it has black strips on a yellow skin just like this, and then notice if he's coming to eat you or not. Stay there and wait for the action he is going to take, the move he is going to make. If he comes and eats you, this is the Bengal tiger. And if he doesn't, it may be some other animal, he says. So if he comes to eat you, you have to wait for it to come and eat you, to identify it, to distinguish it from other animals, and it to be the Bengal tiger. Because whenever a tiger sees you, he'll just move forward and try to eat you. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered. Hide here is used for skin again, animal skin again, and peppered means covered with spots, sprinkled like a peppers. Not a pepper, sprinkled like we sprinkle pepper on our food. You've already done exercises, object writing exercises on pepper, and I hope you're doing those object writing exercises, though you're not showing them to me, but yes, keep the work going on. So if moving further, you see other animal whose skin is covered with spots just like this, he'll know, and whenever he sees you, as he sees you, he'll leap on you, he'll jump upon you, he'll make an attack. And if he does so, make sure that it is the leopard. It will do no good to roar with pain. He'll only leap and leap again. And the poet says that no matter how much you roar, you shout with fear or pain, he'll only leap and leap again. He'll jump and attack you again and again. For leap, poet has used leap and leap to create that reading effect that poet wants to create, and this is actually the poetic liberty, the poetic license that he has used here to mess with the language and use it according to his own wish to keep the rhythm of the poem uptight. explaining it further when I explain the poetic devices used in this poem in the next video. So these three animals that the poet told about us in the starting belonged to the family of cats. We all know that the Asian lion and tigers and leopards belong to the family of cats. The next one reads, if when you're walking around your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess I'll give you just one more guess. Bear hugs are known, right? He gave him a bear hug. Come and give me a bear hug. So those tight hugs are known as that our friends give us or our family members give us whenever we are feeling low are compared to bear hugs, because a bear is always known for giving tight hugs. And caress means here the gentle and loving touch. So the poet says, if you are around your farmhouse or someplace like that, your yard, and you meet an animal, creature is used for animal there, who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. And if you are confused, that animal will give you just another caress to make sure that you get to know that it is the bear. And a bear looks like this. Previously, at the time when this poem was written, or in the previous times, in the times when even I was a kid, finding bears around your area was easy. You'd find them. But now they've become far less in numbers, so really it is very hard to find a bear right now in present time. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. The crocodile you always may tell from hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. A novice is a layman, someone new to the job, or an amateur. So the poet says that to distinguish beasts of prey, and nonplus here means to be confused. The poet says to distinguish between beasts of prey. Beasts of prey are the predating animals, the predators, the upper level of the food chain. Those who kill other animals and eat them, the carnivores. So he says to distinguish these predators, a novice, an amateur might get confused, might get nonplussed. See, again poetic liberty has been used here to create that reading impact, to not get the meter, affected. The poet says that how you can differentiate between a crocodile and a hyena. Hyenas come with merry smiles. They have this smiling face. They have always smiling, this grin on their face. And crocodiles happen to be having tears around their eyes. So if they're weeping, if there is a mark of tear around their eyes, it is a crocodile. And if there is a grin on the face, it is a hyena. That is how you differentiate between these two animals. There is a famous proverb about crocodile tears. Whenever somebody is faking crying or shedding false tears, they are called crocodile tears. Read about it. The next one, poet says, the true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it is the chameleon you see. The poet says that chameleon is small. It looks like a lizard and it does not have any ears. And it doesn't even have wings. If there is nothing on the tree, it is the chameleon you see. Chameleons have this property of changing colors. You all would have seen chameleons around, your houses, around the trees, in the orchards, in the fields, right? They have long tails and they do not have ears. They appear to be like lizards. And we all know that chameleons can change colors. So, the poet has described the appearance. The poet has told us that it looks like lizard, doesn't have any ears, doesn't have wings, and due to this property, this camouflaging property, this color changing property that he possesses, the poet suggests that if you see nothing on the tree, there is a chance that it is a chameleon. There is a chameleon present over there. So that is how you distinguish between these animals. You identify these animals from other animals. This was a funny poem explaining to you the humorous ways, the funny ways, the dangerous ways to identify these wild animals. I hope you enjoyed this poem and you were clear about the explanation. And if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me. That's it for today. In the next video, I'll be explaining to you the poetic devices used in this poem. Until then, happy learning.